Greetings, Rainbow fans! Some of you may recognize this 1989 Rainbow setup that Thomas Rechtenwald brought up and showed at our last mini-meet. Now this PN1 has been fully refurbished, except for some weather stripping we'll put in there later. But the canister unit, that needs some help. And as a matter of fact, it runs so poorly that I don't want to turn it on until I've had a chance to go through and at least attempt a refurbishment to it. So ran pretty rough, and also the wind down pretty rattly. It's like it's going to shake itself apart. So how about we go ahead and dig into the canister section. And anytime you dig into something that's 30 years old and plastic, rubber, foam, whatever it is, and other mechanical bits that could be rusty, you just never know what you're going to get into. So you got to be really careful. So let's examine this piece by piece. Let's look at the base here, the casters. It says you can't see that. Now you can. Let's see. Focus. 1980 Rexair ink. Well, that seems to look just fine. I mean, the casters, yeah, they all move real well. They're not full of a bunch of hair. I had to do a couple of newer machines in this, and geez, I had to just pull the hair out of these wheels. I mean, just for hours. It was just awful. This looks great. Okay, little Scotch-Brite, I think. Take care of that. We can work on that at a later date. Now let's take a look at the bowl. Let's see. I think we got, I got some dirt in there. A little bit of buildup. That's just dirt. It's meant to have dirt in it and then be cleaned out. This looks great. There's the date stamp. You can see that. What's left of it anyway. Okay, that looks fine. I'm not seeing any cracks. No leaks. It's got signs of wear, obviously, but seems to be functional. Although we can clean that up a little bit more. All right, let's turn this over. And let me get some wood blocks here, because this is kind of tippy. Well, how's the old separator nut doing here? Looks like it's a little on the dirty side. So let's see. How difficult is it going to be to come off? Oh, not too bad. Have to clean that out a little bit, though. That's kind of funny. At least it's not destroyed. Okay, here's a separator. Those people who are into looking at the separators. Older style, to be sure. All right, now we need to look into, well, the spider, of course, but this seal looks great. It's going to have to come off, and I'm just using my fingers, and because the glue is so dry, geez, I might not have to do anything. Nothing extreme anyway. That's kind of amazing. Now, if I can be real careful with it, I see it's, it's got a little cracky at this point in time. If I can be careful with it, I can reuse this, or maybe we have to get another one. It really just depends. So I'm just being careful. It's kind of feeling what's where. Normally, it does not come off this easily. I'm going to tell you that for a fact. You got to use a screwdriver or a razor blade or something like that. But this this isn't bad. So I'll have to go and ask Thomas if he wants to go and get a new seal or reuse the existing one, because this is coming off okay. I think it'll be reusable. Just got to take it real easy, and I can do it with my fingers. That was a nice surprise. Just be really careful. And of course, I'll clean this and soak it and put Armor All on it and whatever else. Hey, that is just not bad. It did not shatter or rip terribly or anything. Yeah, it's got some crack lines in it now, but yeah, I think it's going to make it. And it's still squishy. All right, so his choice if he wants to go and get another one. And you can see it didn't leave a whole lot of itself behind. All right, that's not bad. Hey, we're doing good so far. This is great. So I can take off the big screws here first. Show you a few things. We'll have some interesting writing in here. Let's see. Let's have a little more localized light. There. Double insulated when servicing. Use only identical replacement parts. Here's Rexair Inc. 1986. And let's see, I think it's got some specs down here. Here's all that. And that's what I'm interested in. See, can I get that close enough? I don't know. Is that going to... Oh, that's better. All right. 120 volts AC, I think it's 8.8 amps with motorized nozzle, 9.7 amps. Yeah, that's got to be a 9. Had to go and retrieve my big flathead stubby from my wife because she uses it sometimes for crafty projects. And this is a 14 millimeter. And this is WD-40. Let's hope this breaks free. That'd be nice. Come on, there we go. Good. Sometimes you have to wiggle it around a little bit. You don't go in exactly the direction you want. Something hasn't moved in either direction in a long time. All right, wonderful. Glad to get that nut free. Fabulous. Now I think we got some hidden screws. We have some 1, 2, 3, 4 to get out. We'll get to those in a minute, but we have some hidden ones here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there's more than that, I think. That's going to be interesting. I might have to, I don't know, scrape this a little bit. Because we can't really see all of them very well. So here's one here. And there should be one here. There's going to be a bunch of them, but you can't really see where they are at the moment. Okay, how about I scrape this stuff off and then we will revisit what's here. Because that's not going to be very exciting to just watch me scrape off this goo. After a little bit of 100 grit sandpapering, I think I found all 8 screws and managed to break them loose, but that's really under a pile of goo, isn't it? None of these screws were rusted in though, and that was great, probably because they had so much foam and glue on them. These are short little guys. Yeah, don't look like they're there, but they're in there. And there's 8 of them. You know, taking these apart really aren't that bad, but you never know what you're going to get into. You know, is something going to be rusted? Is something going to just have been disintegrated, you know, in a previous life? But these machines were truly meant to be serviced, unlike a lot of machines today. I can't remember. Did I get all of them out? No, I got one more out. It's like trying to get screws that are buried into like giant mud holes or something. So obviously, I will take like a wire wheel and get this cleaned up a little bit, so we can accept some new glue at some point in time. Ooh. Oop. That's some dirt. Okay, so I want to make sure it's not a chunk of something. There's a spider. And I seem to see some evidence here of possibly having this very bottom bearing being replaced. So when I see this green grease squirting out all over the place, I don't know, maybe that's factory, but that doesn't seem very factory to me. So I wonder if some point in time somebody replaced this bottom bearing. So what do you think? A few more easy to get screws. And we're gonna see what the insides are like. I got 4 more here. And we can, of course, take the exhaust cap off. No big deal there. And now the real fun part begins, I think. You start separating pieces. Cool. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Got another ring. That's not in bad shape. And top separates from the bottom fairly easily. Let's see, I've got an alignment here. I'm going to untwist just a little bit. See how the plug that comes out, and you know, for the power nozzle. And let's see what we have in here. All right, doesn't seem to be too bad. Yeah, so hopefully you can see all of that. Kind of move this around. It has a number 2 in the side here, underneath of the top of the front cover. that, I'm seeing rusty screw, and over here, rusty screw and slightly rusty screw. That's a little weird that you would have water that would get in here. So I don't know really what caused that. And I see a bunch of black tape right here. That concerns me a bit. And this is bunched up in an unusual way. So maybe somebody's been in here at some point in time. Something like that. I don't think I need to do a whole lot more with the top. I think I'll just concentrate on this as is. Yeah, it is kind of weird that there's so much rust on these inner screws. I'll show you what I mean. Just these right here. That's a little strange. There'd be so much rust there. Okay, this will come off. And we have some wire nuts. Oh, that was just kind of jammed in there. Yeah. Well, okay. Guess we're big on wire nuts. Oh, and look at this. And that just kind of came off. Alrighty. Such as that is. And how about, you know what, I want to take a look, see what's underneath there. Strange that this wasn't installed well enough to stay in there. So it kind of surprised me a little bit. And this is definitely still rusty. Oh, odd. All right, we need to take some more screws out here. And at this point, I wonder, well, hey, take a look at that. Commutator bars. You know, I'm kind of wondering, just take these wire nuts off. I don't know why somebody was so sloppy with that. Hello. Look at that. It just disintegrated. But that's easy to fix. I don't care about that. That's not a big deal. But it shows that this connection was definitely weak. So we can fix that at a later date. All right. So this is going to have to come through. And I think I can just do this. And then just pull this up. Let's see. Will that work? Just push it out through the bottom. Okay. That gives us some room to work, I think. And you can see how dirty that is. That'll clean up. That's not a big deal at all. Let's get that out of the way. All right, now we can start concentrating on the bearings in the lower part of the motor. So this should have 3 bearings. So let's see what we got here. Okay, wife says lunch is ready, so I'm going to get something to eat. Okay, so that just kind of plopped off there. Seriously, didn't really do anything there. Well, it's certainly gooey. Yee. Okay. So, what do we have here? Well, it needs replacement, but it's not as bad as you think. I have to clean that up and verify exactly what that is. They certainly greased the heck out of it. Yep. You know, I'm going to pop those caps, see what on earth is in there. But, man, it certainly made a mess. Upon a little closer inspection, we have 6201s. You can't make out. See, neither can I. Come on, dude. Am I too close? Too much glare? What? There you go. That's it. You have to get exactly the right angle. 6201 RS C3. So not only is it a big, hefty, I mean, look at the size of that. Big, hefty bearing, but it's a C3, and that actually means highest grade, because typically what you get these days is you get no grade and or, say, C5. So this is a C3. So this is cleaned up, but let's dig in there and see what's going on. They don't feel too bad, but let's see what's inside. Come on. And it's rubber sealed on both sides. Out you come. I have plenty of these brand new. Come on, dude. Hurrah. There we go. Jeez, look at the size of that thing. Okay, so there's one side. Not too bad. Obviously doesn't have, it had more grease on the outside than it did on the inside. So when somebody went in and serviced it, they just put grease on the outside, and they figured somehow by putting grease on the outside, it would magically suck in. Not so much. All right, come on. Come on, dude. Okay, there we go. So there's both sides. That is a monster bearing. We're going to go ahead and replace it anyway. But, you know, I could use this as like a emergency leftover or test bearing or something like that. That is not in that bad a shape. It really isn't. But I have plenty of replacement 6201 C3s, but all metal shields on both sides to put back in, assuming that motor uses 3, which I think it does, but we'll find out in a few minutes. I didn't bother to look. I could look at the exposed parts diagrams, but I haven't bothered. Yep, those are, I mean, that's a hefty bearing. That is a hefty bearing. See, I think this little rubber bearing holder is in okay shape. Yeah, I think it survived. It's not chewed or cracked or anything like that. This metal washer, I think, is going to be all right. It's dirty. Yeah, I think these pieces will be okay. A bunch of goo got to get out of there, though. Okay, let's see. Let's pop these little clips off here. There's one. There's 2. 3. Clips are a little on the rusty side. And now we're gonna get a little more into the fans and into the motor. All right, this looks all right. This isn't bad at all. That'll clean up. Just kind of some goo there. Yeah, just grease that has become incredibly dirty and half solidified. Yeah, so that's got to be cleaned, but that'll come pretty clean. Not worried about that at all. Nothing damaged or broken so far. All right, let's see what we have for, ooh. Well, this is normally supposed to be kind of shiny here, and that is a rusty mess. And it's stuck on the shaft. Wow. Okay, so that's going to be a challenge, to be sure. I mean, that is... I got to get you a close-up of that. Wow. That little separator sleeve, that's not goo. Well, some of it is, but that is rust. Get that as close as I can. That is a lot of rust, and the thing is, I think it's rusted on the shaft. I'm going to have to work on that to see if I can even get that off. So, yeah, unfortunately, there are ways to wreck these motors if you really want to. And you can see how much dirt's built up in these fans. See all that brown in there? It's supposed to be this silver color. So, well, let's see what we can do. That is a lot of rust and corrosion, though. I'll tell you that. Ugh. See, can I get down in there? There's also some nasty pieces in there, too. Let's see, we can go even further in, I think. So, one of the things that... Oh, there we go. That I do when I work on these motors, and if you're a long-time viewer, you see me do this, I always grease the shaft. Literally, I do. Because if there's ever a situation where somehow there's a problem and something gets wet and then it gets stored and then you get, you know, some rust accumulation, stuff like this will never stick together. So, yeah, that's a... that might take a while to try to get that off. Oh, okay. Oh, there we go. All right, it's moving. It's moving. So I'm holding the rear fan here. Well, that was a stroke of luck. Oh. Jeez. This should just be a spacer. But I had it on there almost like a bearing. Oh. Oh, that's so awful. It's so painful to look at. Jeez. Well, that's what you got. So that is abuse. That's just not old age. That's abuse. And here's a fan. That we can get that cleaned. And I have to keep working on it here. I think it's time for these other screws to come out. Might as well. Can I get to this? Wow. Yeah, that's just total abuse. You know, I'll put it over here. I'll stack up the mess so you can see what that looks like. Wow. And then here's another one. That has a slight orientation to it. It's got some grooves here on the top, facing the top of the motor shaft. Okay. Another fan. Oh. Oh, yeah. So we have, yeah, we have some damage here because this is just, you see that? Yeah, so we're gonna have to get some fans. So this got hot, overheated, and started to make a bigger hole. Yeah, I know it's squeaky, but yeah, that should have a tight fit. And it definitely does not. Are all of them that bad? Let me take a look. I know that one was, obviously that one's terrible. This one, no, that one's still round. Is this one damaged? Nope. Okay. So we have 1 out of 3 fans. This one has to get replaced no matter what. You could replace all 3 if you wanted to, but jeez, what a mess. Oh. Okay. Anything else? Well, we need to take this motor further apart. Got some more cleaning to do, that's for sure. So let's do this. Yay, more screws. Now, of course, most Rainbow dealers don't know how to do motors like this. They're not into it. They just say, all right, let me just get you a new motor or sell you a whole new machine. That's the easiest thing to do, is just sell the customer a new machine, because the labor and parts is sometimes just too expensive. Two more screws. And hopefully we'll have a little more access, but yeah. Somehow, for whatever reason, somebody got a pile of dirt to go through this motor. However they managed to do it. Ew. It's like, come on out there. Yeah, I know you're stuck. Stuck for a long time. this off, get it out of the way. Jeez. So we can get the carbon brushes out of this thing. Carbon brushes are huge. They're absolutely huge. You know, I think, see, maybe I'll do this instead. There we go. They are massive carbon brushes. Like, you don't know just how large those things are. Absolutely massive. And see, those going to be, I got to pull these out here. Come on. And when I need a little pair of needle nose. That's really in there. All right, let me get some needle nose. Let's see, can you see all right? Okay, good. Every so often I gotta check that you can still see it all right. So this is, I hope this doesn't break. I pull these off. Oh, good. There we go. So these are some of the biggest carbon brushes you're ever going to see. I mean, they are huge. Okay, come on. You can do it. Look at the size of that thing. That is massive. And it's split into two halves. Yeah, there's literally there's two halves there. Yeah. Plenty of carbon brush length left. That's just tremendous. Okay, let's get the other one out. Good. There you go. You got these little clips. You can move them out of the way or take them out entirely. There you go. Here's the other one. Yeah, they're in great shape. Everything's fine. I mean, massive, massive carbon brushes. Yeah, these things just last forever. These carbons go for decades under normal use. Okay, got a 6.5 millimeter socket. Hey, they're not jammed up. All right, that's good. They weren't tight either. That's bad. I guess I should just remove these clips. I mean, they're just sitting here. Kind of get them out of the way. Is that it? There goes some long bolts. Okay, let's see if I can pull this stuff out. See what kind of further mess we have in here. All right, all that came out. That's great. We can see we got another bearing. Ooh, that bearing sounds terrible. I mean, that sounds really terrible. Well, yeah, of course. Let me get that out of the way. Like, move. I'm gonna show everybody something else. So I think you can unscrew the fan. Yep. Let's take the fan off. That's pretty simple. Put that off to the side. This whole thing comes off. I'll just leave the clips on there. They're having a good time all by themselves. Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, brother. Check this out. All right, so here is the top bearing. Yeah, it shouldn't sound like that or spin like that. Here's the bottom bearing. Yep. So then that's just a little keeper in there. What a mess. So this is huge. I mean, and it weighs a ton. That is an armature. I mean, that's just look at how gorgeous that thing is. Well, I mean, it's dirty and all that, but that is just a monster. Wow. See, let's just pull off. Not yet. This one will. That'll just fly right off of there. There's that shaft. Giving everybody a good look here before this gets replaced. Yep. It shouldn't sound like that. Yep. So we got two definitely bad bearings. The very extreme bottom bearing, the one that faces the water, was, actually kind of okay. Could be repacked. And we got one fan that's definitely damaged. You can't reuse that. Well, you've more or less seen the bottom fan, but here's a closer view of it. Yeah, we got a lot of dirt in there. That was definitely a problem. Here's a coil. What's it say here? November 89. Yeah, close enough. That is a big coil. And it weighs a ton, too. Just for laughs, this is the topmost bearing. You can see down there. Pull it off the top. Listen to this. Wow, that's so bad. It's so gone. After a closer inspection, you can obviously see that's been chewed. It's a big silver chew mark. But I think this is the top one. When you look closer, that's too much wobble in there. So it's a little oval. Yeah, even I can see that. All right. So I think we're going to be looking at replacing at least two fans. a bunch of parts that are still kind of rusty crusty. I'm going to try to use the handy dandy wire wheel here. What's kind of funny is I can't get this bearing off because we got some grooves. Let's see, the ones right here are, I can barely feel them. You can see them, can't feel them. The ones here in the middle, I can feel them, yeah, and the ones right here are really bad. So I'm going to use some 800 grit paper to smooth this out, because this is, yeah, that's terrible. And, well, I want to get the bearing off without destroying anything. In addition to that, we've got a couple of spacers that look terrible. So here's something I made up to hopefully kind of hold this there and see if I can scrape off how awful these two look. I mean, just what a mess. I believe they are savable, but I mean, they look terrible right now. All right, so let's see how well this works and or doesn't work. Yeah, it's working. Let's hear it for a wire wheel. Oh yeah, that's making a huge difference. And we got some rough spots here too, so big difference. But some of that's still kind of crusty. Yeah, it's going to turn by itself now. Cool. It's still in pretty rough shape though. Okay, next part. Second part. Isn't that amazing? The rust just goes away. Goes down here. Some of it, anyway. All right, much better. Kind of changed color. Now for some miscellaneous parts. I figured since I got the wire wheel out here, might as well do something with it. These are going to be kind of squirrely to get clean, but I'll do what I can. Most people just wouldn't bother with them. Would prefer not to have these things flying off everywhere. I'm going to hold them with the vice grips. Yeah, see all that rust? Okay, well, you get the idea. I'm going to do all these and then I'll get back to you. But I do have the rustiest screw on Thomas's rig, I will do that. There we go. That's a little bit better, I think. All right, looks a bit better. So here are the results. Good enough. A lot less rust, that's for sure. There's the underside of some of them. Next. Don't worry, I taped the threads down here so they won't get mangled. And wouldn't it be funny if the bearing, when its time came, would actually fall down and let me know, okay, you got everything. Wow, well, that looks a lot better, doesn't it? Bearing is still not coming down on its own, so let's keep going. Think about like that. All right, let's try it. Aha. So what'd I tell you? Doink. That's it. Well, I guess we'll clean up this little tiny piece at the top. Just nice, gentle 800 grit. Let's see what's left. I'll use that. All right, that is fantastic. And even though you might still be able to see a couple of notches in there, scratches, that is almost baby bottom smooth. And as you may have seen, have all the parts drying nicely outside. So really what the main parts were that we needed to replace were these two fans right here. So that larger, I'll call it the middle fan, that one was fine, just barely. These two were shot. Thomas has already ordered a pair of them. One of the last places where you can even still get them, that was Rainvac. Like rain vacuum, but rainvac.com. I've used them over the years for my rainbow parts, but parts for a machine this old, I've almost completely dried up. Oh, there's places that actually claim to have them, and then when you click on checkout or you click on stock check, it says factory no longer available, discontinued, sold out, you name it. So stay tuned when we get those parts in for the reassembly. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for more.